Hey, what's up, guys? Austin back here from another video. It's actually about 12 o'clock at night. Played some Fortnite with my friends, and I said, well, I gotta do a video because I ain't uploaded in forever. I start work Tuesday, and I've worked every day. And then my day off is Sunday, so hopefully weather will be pretty, and I can get out, mess with a few reels or something, make more heads and stuff because I've got to do that. I got another order, and I just gotta get them done. But without that being said, today's video, actually, I got asked to do how I fish a jig and some colors I like. I know I've done a video on that before, but he's wanting a more in depth. He said, "Hey, buddy, I struggle jig fishing. Um, if it ain't in the dead heart of summer, flipping docks or skipping docks, I don't know it. So this is for you." Not gonna say his name, but my favorite color is, I actually have three. One's gonna be Orange Crush, has my go-to color. One's gonna be one that you can't get nowhere, the Gambler. And then one is gonna be my buddies from Wisconsin, Troy Roback. I can't ever pronounce his name. But this is his Missouri Crawl color. Now, that ain't all I throw. I got a box full. So, I'm going to try my best to tell you when, how, and why, and trailers, and rod, and reel. And why. So, if I have to pick up a jig, I'm throwing Orange Crush. This is a phenomenal color. I've told you my friend Hannah Wesley put me on this color a while back, probably about 2 years ago. No, been longer than that, been about 3 years ago. And I also put this color to the test, and I caught some fish on it. She was catching spots on Cumberland on this color in January. It was like forever ago, but it was New Year. So, that right there, I love that color. And I think this color really shines in the spring and the fall time. And I'll tell you why. Because if you ever look at a crawfish, spring, fall, and winter time, in the winter time, them crawfish turn red. Like, I'm talking about blood red. So then I got that Falcon Lake crawl color. But I don't throw that Missouri crawl color. What I'll throw is something like Laurel Crawl or this here. Nope, that ain't it. Rusty Crawl. Rusty Crawl is that color. Laurel Crawl is going to be that color right there. Here it is. Right here. I'll throw this color. You can even see my red trailer through that. So with that being said, that's what I'm going to throw in the winter. In the winter, I'm going to be point fishing and what's it called? Bluff wall fishing, because that's usually deeper water. Make Kroger famous. But I love the Orange Crush color. I've had more luck on it than any other one beside the Gambler. The Gambler I fished since freshman year. I had tournament on Cumberland. First tournament I ever fished. Went in over to Bronxton, the Pro Bass store. I said, "Buddy, I need something. I don't know much about fishing, and I just need something to get me by, get me a couple bites." And he pointed this out. He said, pair that with this trailer and this, and you got it. Well, I lost some fish on it. So, he wasn't lying. Us couldn't get them in the boat. But, that right there is a phenomenal color. That's a gambler. Can't get it, so not touching on it. Laurel Crawl's a good color in the winter because it has a reddish look to it. Pair it with a red trailer, and then there you go. You're good to go. One trailer I've been trying to get into fishing is a Z-Man crawl, and it's a kind of like the Falcon Lake crawl by Strike King. I've been trying to get into that, but a problem I ran into Z-Man after a while, they just get hard. Like that is hard, and then after a while, they lose their elastic. Like I'm stretching it, but like it just breaks. Like right there. So if I'm gonna pay $5 for a trailer, it's gonna be Rage Crawl or Googan, but I just like Rage Crawl better. But okay, so back to a crawfish color. They do turn blood red in the winter. Well, at some point in time, I figured, and correct me if I'm wrong, they have to be an orange color, like an orangish red. Well, I try that orange with that brown, and usually I throw a green pumpkin or a bourbon blaze. I do like the bourbon blaze Z crawl better because it produces more water and stuff, allows some fish to key in on it more. But the reason why I throw a football head is because I like fishing rock and stuff. A tip, get the jigs like that, because if you don't, you get them hung up a whole lot. And just like this, it don't matter if your line ties back here, here, or here. You hit a rock, it's gonna flip up. Your trailer's gonna be moving and stuff, just like that. So it just looks more like a crawl. That's one tip. Write that down. So what you're gonna be looking for is a line tie just like your football head. So your football head's running that way, your line tie needs to be running that way. So when it hits something, you pull it, it's going to flip up. So that's one tip. Another tip, don't be afraid to get out of your comfort zone. Don't be afraid to try different trailers, different colors, different brands, different styles, and stuff like that, because Eversoft plastic's different. It can be made by the same brand, but have a different action and stuff like that. So that's two tips. And another one that goes along with that, don't be afraid to match the hatch. And what I mean by that, I'm not talking about size of your shad, because if you're looking to match a shad with a crawl color jig, then I don't know what to tell you. I seriously don't. But with that being said, if it's just like this, get you some of that spike it orange and then dip about that much of your tail. Because you got some orange in your skirt, you got green pumpkin, which is like a brown. That green pumpkin trailer is going to match that. 9 times out of 10, the beginner angler don't pay attention to that. You look at a crawl and he's turning colors. He's not going to be all green on this side, all orange on this side. He has some orange, more orange, and it'll look like polka dots, but that's just how he looks. Them big fish is not done by no means. So, with that being said, that's just a few colors I like. If I'm fishing a pond, orange crush, or that little bluegrass crawl there, get bluegill invitation. And another thing is, don't, and I know I'm saying this and you're watching my video on jig fishing, but don't listen to this one, don't listen to that one. Because when I just started getting into fishing, I didn't really know how to fish half decent and competitive until the end of my sophomore, my beginner, and my junior year of high school. This is the first year I've been out of high school. But I have learned a thing or two and I've seen a thing or two. I've done a thing or two. Before, I'd take a football head and I'd reel it like a swim jig. Now you may be laughing, but I was catching fish in the ponds and lakes too. I mean, surely not all them fish from years and years and years was flukes. So, if you see something, don't be burning that jig in. Just slow wind it in. Now, they won't hit it every time, but sometimes you may get lucky. So, that's targeting winter. So, like right now, get you a Rusty Red by Chester Wooten, or get you any jig, your favorite brand. I don't care if it's a NewTek, I don't care if it's a DNL, I don't care if it's, let's see, here's some popular brands. Lifted Jigs, TNT Tackle, I done said that. Strike King. Who else makes jigs here? Guggen. Dick's Jigs. Z-Man. It don't matter. Find something with red in it. I don't care if it's like that color red. I don't care if it's black and red. Just find something with red in it. Pair it up with something that's orange. Not bright orange, but like a darker orange, like that Sun Perch. Sun Perch net bait packer trailer. Or if you are a big Rage Crawl guy, Falcon Lake Crawl. Firm believer in it. Love it to death. Throw it on Green Pumpkin. Throw it on your redder jigs. Throw it on your Orange Crush jigs. Throw it on your Gamblers if you have them. Throw them on that right there. That's a Guggen. It don't matter. Just branch out. Try this. Try that. And the biggest tip to jig fishing I can give you is patience. Patience, patience, patience. And it took me forever. It took me until my junior year to have patience in fishing. Before, I'd go out there. If I didn't catch nothing, within 2 hours, I was giving up. I didn't know what to do, didn't know what to try, or anything. Well, on them tough grinding days, learn. Because that's about all you get out of that. So that's a good time to finesse fish if you are impatient on that. Or jig fish if you're impatient on that. If you're a power fisherman and you're a big crankbait guy, don't know how to catch them on a jig, well, if they ain't hitting a crankbait, they ain't wanting to move, then 9 times out of 10 either they're not going to hit or they're going to be hitting a different bait that's not chasing. So this here is a way for a bass to get, it invitates one big meal. I mean, just like that. It looks like a big blob. I mean, you got the skirt, you got this big dangly thing, and it looks like a big meal. You gotta think, in the wintertime, them fish ain't wanting to move a lot, same way as summertime. Now, for example, a lot of people's just like, well, what are you talking about, Austin? You go out in the hot sun, lay on blacktop. Now, I ain't done it. I'm just saying this for example. I don't know anybody that'd do that, but I'm just giving an example. You lay on blacktop for, I don't know, hour or two, you're going to be sweating hot, not wanting to move. So with that being said, them fish is the same way. That water temp heats up faster than people thinks and cools off faster. So then, what do you think them fish is wanting to do? They're not wanting to move. They're not wanting to swim a whole lot. They are wanting to feed up early of a morning, get their job done, or at night. Then you break out your top waters or your crankbaits or whatever you may fish. I don't know. But if you're fishing a tournament and it starts at 3 p.m., it's a night tournament. It goes to 2 a.m. or something. Say that. Or 12 at night. You're just like, well, I can't make it happen. It ain't no way. Because them fish is not wanting to hit a square bill. They're not wanting to hit a topwater. They're not wanting to hit a spinnerbait or an A-rig or whatever. Well, A-rig they sometimes hit. Go deep. Go deep for them hours. When that sun's high, go deep. Now, I'm not saying that it ain't going to be a struggle to get a fish, because it will be. But take your jig. Break out the heavy-duty jig and go to work. Now, I have a buddy. He catches them on swim jigs. He got me some, told me how to doctor them up, and I still ain't caught fish on a swim jig. But I've caught fish swimming a football head jig in the past. But he told me to put swim baits on them, cut down the skirt, cut down your swim bait, and make it compact. So that's what I done. Ain't caught fish on it. Same way as that. That's a Strike King, ain't caught fish on it. But jigs, that was my confidence bait for years and years and years. Other colors that I would throw is Dirty Sanchez, Cumberland Crawl, and Oops. Again, that is Dirty Sanchez, Cumberland Crawl, and Oops. And Black and Blue. Black and Blue fish in dirty water. And I tell you why, because them fish, especially largemouth, they feel uncomfortable in dirty water. Smallmouth, they love nasty weather. When it's cold out, you need to be going. When it's rainy and you can't have sea, you need to be on the lake. I don't know what it is about it. It just fires them smallmouth up. I've had some of my best days in heavy rain. But them largemouth, just like this right here. Pretend this is a tree, and then this is a bush. Well, that tree's laying on the bush like that. Well, you need to hit right over here. You need to hit down the center if you can. And you need to fish that tree in the bush all the way around. Because them fish in dirty water, well, I've learned, they hold tight to cover. They feel uncomfortable. They use their lateral lines for vibration. Now, they ain't me saying, well, throw a spinnerbait by it, and it's 80 degrees out. Now, I'm not saying you won't catch fish, but I'm just saying, flip, pitch, whatever you gotta do, make the angle of that cast. Roll cast that way, skip it in there, flip it in there, and just fish that cover heavy. And by fish the cover heavy, I mean fish it thoroughly. Don't leave a spot untouched. Because if something makes you uncomfortable, then you're not going to be wanting to, how can I put it? You're not going to be wanting to look and see what it is, so to say. It's going to have to fall right in front of your face for you to know what it is and eat it. Them fish has to eat. Now, they may go a day, they may go 5 days without eating. The fish that goes 5 days, they're wanting a big meal. One big meal. You think them fish got that big just by being stupid, hitting everything that came in front of their face? No. I know people that what I call fish hungry. I mean, they keep everything they catch. Don't matter if it's catfish, bluegill, crappie, bass, whatever it is, they keep it, eat it. Now, it's alright to keep fish. I don't care. But if you're wanting to take a kid fishing, if you're wanting to keep going back to that spot, catch fish, a pond, especially a pond, do not keep fish every time you go. Every other time you go, do not keep them. Now, you may say, well, Austin, you're going on a rampage here talking about people keeping fish and they get overpopulated. Yeah, they will. But you also got to look at, too, you be catching a bunch of small fish. But while you are catching them small fish, you are learning. Because if you pay attention to how you hold your rod and reel, I just have a reel here. I've been playing with it. It's that flipping reel. It's fun. Because it's literally dunk, dunk. I'll probably tear it up. But if you hold a bait caster like that, just like it's on a rod, your line's coming out right here. If you hold it like that, you feel that line right there on your finger. You just feel tick, and then you reel down, set the hook. Then you know that's a fish. Well, that's step one of knowing jigs. What a fish feels like. What different structure feels like. Now, on top of that, if you lose a bunch of fish, say you just have like a 6.5 foot rod, you lose a bunch of fish, that lets you know right there you need a longer rod to fight them fish and to get a better hook set. So, what I could tell you the best knowledge, play around with colors, play around with your gear. You ain't always got to go to a lake to learn a lot of fishing. Now, rods and reels I'm going to throw a jig on, going to be a 7 foot, no shorter than a 7 foot, no taller than 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven's flipping jig. I usually try to stick around me. I'm 6'1", it don't matter, but I like a 7 foot, not over a 7'6" for a jig. That's my personal preference. I know people that throw 7'8", 7'9", has these custom rods built. I know a guy, he throws a jig on a 8'6", right, or might be right at 9 foot. But he taught himself what a jig felt like, what a jig bite felt like through that rod, what a rock felt like, what grass felt like, what a tree felt like. Now, I'm not saying go out here buy GLX or NRX or Conquest or Zodius or X Pride or whatever high priced end rod. The biggest fish I ever caught on jig was on a Quantum. Quantum KVD, one of them little gray and black ones with red accents. Like $100 rod. I had the reel to match it. You can take no, I'm not dishing this company at all. But you can take a Abu Garcia Black Max or Pro Max or Silver Max and catch just as many fish, just as big a fish as a guy with a Metanium or Aldebaran and a Conquest. You just have to practice, practice, practice. It ain't about what's right here or in your wallet or what's in your boat or what's in your corner. It's about what's up here. And What I mean by that, you have to remember what this rod feels like, what that rod feels like, how I hold it, what a fish feels like with it. So, with that being said, play around with your gear, especially your rods. Don't be afraid to mix it up. If you think you like this rod, well, try another rod out. Then you really get a dream jig rod. Now, I'm not talking to the people that just got like one or two rod and reels, because that's all that you have. I totally get that. You can take a jig and throw it on one of them. Heck, far I take a smaller jig and throw it on a spinning rod. And that's just because a lot of people don't do it. They're just like, well, I can't really fight the fish, I can't throw heavy line. Well, on your lighter jigs, your finesse jigs, you don't need heavy line. You don't need a heavy rod. You don't need all that backbone. So, if you only have one or two rod and reels, then that's great. I'm glad for you. Don't be afraid to throw a jig. I know I just said I wasn't talking to y'all, but don't be afraid to throw a jig. Don't be afraid to learn the art of jig fishing. And I tell you why. Because jig fishing, when it all boils down to it, teaches you patience. You make a cast, let it sink to the bottom. You either just like that, reel up your slack, let it set, and do it more, or you can throw it out there, just slowly drag it on the bottom. Reel up your slack, let it set. Then do it again. That opens up the door. And a lot of people don't realize it. They think, well, I'm still in my comfort zone. I still got my heavy rod, got my heavy line, got my bait caster in my hand if I have one, and I'm just in my comfort zone. I know if I get a big fish, I can get it in. What jig fishing opens up the door to is finesse fishing. You may think I'm crazy, but again, that teaches you more stuff, jig fishing, than just it alone. It teaches you how to take a spoon, use your graph or a drop shot, and just like that in the fish's face. It teaches you to take a Ned rig, throw it out there. Same thing as a jig. Shaky head, same exact thing. Texas rig, same thing. Carolina rig, same thing. It teaches you more than this jig fishing. And also, you're going to think I'm crazy, but jig fishing will open up the door to more patience with people. You won't get mad as easy. You won't get frustrated as easy. You won't give up as easy. Because you have more patience. You figure them out. You say, well, yeah, you need it this, you need it that. You won't be like, well, I gave you this, I gave you that, you said this, you said that. But jig fishing is one of the best skills in bass fishing you can ever develop. More, and you might think I'm crazy, but do your research. It's been more big fish caught on a jig here in the recent years, or Alabama rig. Right there is a toss up. Now, I'm not talking about spring when you're bed fishing. Because, I mean, who can't bed fish? You're literally looking at the fish. I'm talking about from the from January 1st to December 31st. I'm talking about a whole year. Throughout the year. Do your research. What you need, You need your 7 foot to 7/6 rod. That's me. I use a fast gear ratio, not under a 7, and then jig. And then on my bait casters, I don't run as heavy a line as you may think. Because, I mean, I'm a jig and a finesse guy. If it's power fishing, I don't know it. But I throw 12-pound line. You may think, well, you're talking about bluff walls and points with big rocks and stuff. Yeah, I am. But you take these people out here with 20-pound line and stuff like that. Well, them fish sees that line. It has a thicker diameter. I have some line up here. But it has a thicker diameter. So, with that being said, that's just me. I'm not afraid to branch out. I'm still learning the art of jig fishing. I'm still learning the art of power fishing. I'm still learning fishing right today. And that's the best thing about fishing ever. You never get bored of it. If it's in you, if you love it, live it, care for it, want to do it, passionate about it, have the want to, and some people has a need to, you never get tired of it. So that's just me though. But like I said, if one or two rods all you got, then make it work. There for years I had nothing but spinning rods. I still threw a jig. Didn't know what I was doing at all. I was over here reeling a football jig, for crying out loud. Still caught fish, still had fun. Still catch fish reeling a football head jig to the boat or to the bank right now to make another cast. So, that's all I got for y'all though. But 12, some, like if I throw a jig on a spinning rod, I'm throwing 6 or 8 pound. 4 pound, I don't get a good hook set on them. 6 to 8 pound is my comfort zone with a jig on a spinning rod. That's a lighter jig. Bait casters, 10, not over 17, unless I'm flipping. Then I'll go up 20 or 25 because I'm not worried about making a long cast. And usually when I flip, it's in dirty water or in a bush or something, and they're holding right to it. So something that drops down their face, a lot of times they're going to eat. So I'm literally making a little pitch. Just a flick of the wrist. I set my reels loose. I usually turn all my internal brakes off because that just allows an easier pitch. I ain't got to put as much effort in it. That's just a little tournament strategy. Or if you're a long angler that likes fishing long periods of time like I do, I like fishing 8, 10, 12 hours. It don't wear you out. So, that's jig fishing. That's more of an end-up video. If fish still didn't cover it, I can meet and we can fish. I can show you some jig tips, show them in action, let you use my rod, reel, line, I don't care. I just want to give back to a community that has given me a chance to basically do this right here. My baits, YouTube, and I just want to thank all the people that in my high school days of fishing that gave me a chance to either promote the company or just helped out the fishing team. That meant the world to me. Because, I mean, you got all these high pros and stuff, and you could see them going after them. But instead of doing that, they want to give back to a younger generation. That meant the world to me, myself, personally. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get down to a younger generation that's us now being exposed to bass fishing. That's us now seeing if they like it. The high school kids, the middle school kids. So That's just an easy way to get better. And a versatile way, really. Because, like I said, it opens up the door to finesse fishing. But that's all I got for y'all. It's 12:30. I don't know when this is going to upload. Probably 2 or 3 a.m. Because that 40-some minute video, it took it 2.5 hours to upload. So if this uploads at like a crazy time, just know it's 12:30 at night when I done it. I gotta work tomorrow. But I'll try to upload again Sunday. Hopefully it won't be as late because I gotta work Monday again. But Sunday probably around 2 o'clock, I'd say. According to what I get into, according to what happens, I'll be at church and stuff. If it's pretty, I'll be making them baits and stuff. But I still actually have to place an order. But thank y'all for watching. This video is pushing right at 36-37 minutes. But that's jig fishing more in depth. But thank y'all for watching. Y'all have a good day.